Hi there, welcome to Friday's Indycar on the 12th of October. I'm Gordon Ross, and in today's news we discover that the British negotiators in the Brexit negotiations are refusing the European Union's offer to continue to protect the names of Scottish produce, things like Scotch whisky, Scotch beef, Arbroath smokies, and a variety of other foodstuffs and products which are uniquely Scottish. The European Union has offered to continue to protect these goods in their own markets even after Brexit, and yet the UK has refused all of these reasonable offers for those produce to be protected under EU laws. What does it mean? Well, it means that the UK government is preparing to sell out Scotch whisky, Scottish food produce, Scottish beverages, Scottish textiles, anything with the word Scottish attached to it. They're prepared to dump it in favour of an American trade deal. In other words, they want to allow any other company from the United States, Australia or anywhere else in the world to make whisky and claim it to be Scotch, or to create beef brands and claim them to be Scotch. It removes all the protections that we currently have with the European Union at a stroke, and it will destroy to a large extent the reputation of Scottish produce across the world. And this is the price of Brexit. This is the price of the trade deal that the UK is so desperate to achieve with the United States. That's the cost of it. That's the price that we are going to pay for British stupidity, for English Tory stupidity in trying to Brexit and take us with them, and to ruin the reputation of our products, to kill off our export markets, to reduce our export incomes, to destroy the industries which have been responsible for over 20% of British exporting success over the last 30 years. It's all going to get chucked under the bus because the British government does not want to be in Europe. It wants to be a part of America, and it wants to be a part of Australia. The further right and the further white they go, the more expensive this becomes to Scotland. They want to trade only with English-speaking countries which have some kind of British connection or ex-colonial connections, like the United States, one of the most powerful countries on the planet. They want Donald Trump to decide what our food standards are. They want Donald Trump to decide what we can and cannot call our Scotch whisky. That's what they want to do. They're selling us out to America and Australia, who are anxious to get their hands on the products which we make, and also to be able to manufacture them themselves in their own countries and make money out of the name that has been so carefully built up over centuries here. It's a sellout. One of the things I mentioned in the preamble to this show is that I think it's about time that our government did something dramatic. We're at a stage now where it doesn't matter what we do anymore. We've got nothing to lose anymore. We can act in a very confrontational way now as a government, as a country, and it won't matter because the British government's already jumping all over us and stomping all over us and ignoring us. So what is the point of holding back and being nice about it anymore? One of the ideas I've been kicking around for a while is that the Scottish government, which has a majority, should unilaterally decide to license a new television company in Scotland, which is not connected in any way with any British state or investor. A completely new television company, and license them to broadcast on exactly the same frequencies as the BBC and ITV, over the top of them if necessary. Because one of the things that drives everybody in Scotland absolutely insane is the fact that we have to listen daily to propaganda and filtered news which comes from English-owned companies in Scotland, operating as the BBC does as a propaganda state broadcaster to keep Scotland in its place. Well, maybe it's about time that we stopped doing that. Maybe it's about time that the Scottish Government said, right, we've had enough of this. You're not listening to us. We're not going to listen to you anymore. So if you won't listen to us, then we'll have our own television station and we'll make you listen to us, because we're fed up hearing your message day in and day out. All we hear is British this, British that, British the next thing. Scotland bad, SNP bad, SNP bad. We're fed up with that. Things like Question Time the other night is a case in point. An audience stuffed with Tory plants and one or two pro-independence speakers who get about 2 minutes to speak, whilst all the Tory plants in the audience get to dominate the conversation. Again, it's the same old story, and we are letting it happen. The Scottish Government needs to move. They don't have anything to lose. Why not provoke the British Government? Why not poke them now? Why not kick them in the nuts right now and set up a new Scottish television station? Licence it to broadcast under Scottish law right over the top of the BBC and ITV signals. Screw them up completely. Why are we waiting around? What's the point of playing nicely at the moment? It's getting us nowhere. We're going down the toilet with Brexit, and we're just doing nothing about it. We're circling the plug hole at the moment, and we're just basically watching it happen. What's to stop us provoking the BBC and saying we're giving licences, we're inviting bids from companies to bid to become the new Scottish state broadcaster? We're inviting them to do it now, and we'll make some broadcasts. Even if they're trial broadcasts, I'm sure we can legislate a way around the British so-called reserved broadcasting. Scotland's the only country in the world whose broadcaster is from a foreign country and dictates what we get to see. Not even the Catalans put up with that. They have their own television channels, by the way, and their own newspapers. We're not even allowed that. This is not a democracy. Why should we behave as though we're living in one? Why don't we just act? Why doesn't the Scottish Government just say, that's it, you've pushed it too far, now the gloves are off, we're going to tell the people the truth with a news channel which tells the truth for a change and doesn't filter it all down and doesn't only put out Scotland bad stories. Why don't we do that? What would be the big deal? What are they going to do to us? Eh? Are they going to shut down the Scottish Parliament? Well, they're going to try that anyway, aren't they? Why not provoke them a bit? Why not give them a poke and say, we're setting up this company because we're going to be independent soon and we're going to need a state broadcaster, and we're going to license them to do some trials where they can broadcast on your frequencies at any time they feel like as a test. I'm sure we can work out a way of doing this, and I'm sure it would be immensely popular with the Scottish people. So many folk have stopped paying their television licences. So many people do not believe the British media anymore. Well, why don't we just give them the truth for a change? I can't be the only one who's doing a television show and trying to bring facts to people. Why is it me in a car? Why does the Scottish Government not do this? I mean, it could be illegal technically to do it because it's so-called reserved matter. But what the hell does it matter? We're going down the toilet anyway with the British state. We might as well go down swinging, and we might as well at least tell people the truth about what's actually going on, rather than sitting meekly at the sides waiting for the whole thing to collapse around us and then say, we told you so, vote for independence. By that time the country will be too damaged to do much about it. Why don't we? Why don't we just provoke them? Let's do it. Let's have a trial broadcast with the new broadcasting company, give a licence to them under Scottish law that says they have a licence to broadcast Scottish news only, and do so on any frequency they wish, even the frequencies that the BBC transmits on. Jam them for a change. Screw up their schedules for a change. Stop their news getting out for a change. It would make me a lot happier to know that we could do something like that. It would make everybody in Scotland a lot happier to know that their government is actually fighting to get the truth out to people, and not just simply rolling over and letting the British state propaganda machine churn out day after day of garbage about how brilliant Britain is, how many royal weddings there are, how wonderful the flag is, how great the Queen is. Nobody cares up here about that. We are not British, we are all Scottish. British is an invention of the English state. We want Scottish television, and we deserve to have a proper Scottish channel. STV isn't it. Scottish television is owned by a British company, a British media company. Most of the newspapers are owned by English media companies or Australian media companies. The BBC is owned by the British state, and we pay it. We pay to watch it. We pay to watch propaganda. It's a great scam. We are taxed into watching their propaganda. and we are supposed to sit there and believe that it's all true. Anyway, sorry, I'm having a rant today, but I think, why don't we? Why don't we start a proper broadcaster? Never mind pissing about on the internet anymore. Let's go on the airwaves. So come on, Scottish Government, answer the question, why can't we do this? You say, oh, but it's reserved. Oh, so what? Everything's bloody reserved, because we're a slave state. But why can't we broadcast our own people? What's so illegal about broadcasting truth to people? What's illegal about the BBC spouting rubbish day and night and we don't get to do anything about it? Why can't we have a powerful signal with Scottish news? So whenever the BBC comes on with reporting Scotland, it's blacked out and we get proper Scottish news from a Scottish perspective by a Scottish company that has no interest in the British state whatsoever. It's high time it was done, and there is, as I say, there's nothing to lose. The whole country is about to go down the toilet. What the hell have we got to lose by trying it? It'll annoy the British state, it'll wind them up something rotten. They don't want this kind of thing happening at this point in time. They'll have a lot of trouble fighting against it. They'll try to take us to the courts. But wouldn't it be worth it just to have, for once, some television which isn't made by the British state and aimed at keeping us in our place and telling us how rubbish we are? I'd love it if we could do this, and I think a lot of people out there would love it if we could just do this, even if it's only for a short time before they shut us down. But why not? Why not provoke them? Why not give them a poke and say, look, we are being ignored. You ignore us at our peril. We'll find a way to get the truth out. We'll find a way to get our message out. And if you're not going to let us do it, we'll do it ourselves. I'll see you later. Bye.